We all have basic beliefs that we consider true, without ever analyzing the validity of them, or even proving just a little bit. Important things like our existence, political views, and religious beliefs. So many things in our daily life that we passively accept without ever questioning. As an example, one of the things we've probably never questioned through and truly analyzed is if birds are real. Now hear me out. I know what you're thinking. Birds are of course real. But have you ever gotten that close to one? Once you get within a couple feet, they usually fly away. Now, there's actually a large movement or conspiracy theory that birds are government surveillance drones. Now, not all birds, but some birds have been replaced with government surveillance videos. Today we're going to look at this conspiracy in 3 parts. First, we'll cover the background, how this even came to be. Second, what they claim happened, a little bit of the story. And lastly, the impact, or the takeaway for you and I. So, how did this conspiracy really take flight? Well, let's look at a couple things. As all wise and 100% accurate ideas start, it started with a college student. Peter McIndone is a college student at Memphis University that came up with the idea and started the social media accounts behind the Birds Aren't Real movement. As reported by an article by Aduban News, it explains that he's a philosophy and English major that came up with the idea as partial marketing, but partially something that he postulates could really be real. The next point out of this is the growth. That this didn't just start as some random hoax at one university and just become something funny in Tennessee or even just in Memphis. It's actually something that took flight and got a lot of social media backing behind it after a couple celebrities and different people took Peter's flyers and posted it on their accounts. This gained lots of momentum and even landed Peter in multiple interviews with different news groups. Okay, now that we know how it started, that someone had this crazy idea, what's the actual story? Well, let's look at the replacement of birds and how they were changed from what they were into government surveillance drone. The story goes like this. Until the 1960s, birds were real. The two things came together. First, the CIA and other government groups needed to look for new and innovative ways to survey people in order to combat terrorism and communism. So, there's the motive. Second, the Cold War started, and with it, a massive increase in defense spending for the federal government. This gave them the means. So the federal government had the means, needing to survey people, the motive, needing to survey people, and the means, the mass amounts of spending. So the story goes like this. The CIA director, Alan Dulles, at the time, started a program because it needed a covert way to increase surveillance. Birds Aren't Real online website explains that, quote, Dulles and his team wanted to create the greatest surveillance system ever imagined, with the capability of tracking someone on foot, in a vehicle, or even their personal home. They postulate that this is part of the reason for migration patterns of birds, that they're following tourists and Americans leaving the country, they're following them. That's why birds actually migrate. To give this crazy conspiracy theory some more feasibility and validity, in 2001, the Patriot Act was passed in the federal government. Now, this actually allowed mass surveillance of Americans. This gives them now the legal power to actually follow through with the program. So once again, we have the means, the motive, and some of the logistical backing to go through with this. So let's continue with the story and look at some of the feasibility. In theory, this gave the CIA legal power to move forward with this diabolical plan. A news article from the Genesis explains that there's many examples of the government doing wiretaps and other crazy things, and people thinking it's a hoax. So set aside your disbelief and maybe think about it. That's what the article says. Proponents of the movement argue that it's highly plausible, given the large portion of birds were replaced with drones. They have the perfect cover too for when they charge, since birds are always sitting on power lines. So what's the third point? The impact, the takeaway for you and I. Well, the takeaway is 2 different things. First, be wary of fake news and ridiculous conspiracy theories, no matter how convincing they may be. And second and more importantly, we need to reason through our own beliefs. We need to think about certain things that we take for granted. If someone can postulate crazy ideas about birds not being real, what should we really consider about important things, like our political views, religious beliefs, and existence? Thank you.